Hi, I'm former Eagles punter Sean Landetta, and you're watching CI TV.
So every year we want to acknowledge our seniors, and when we do that, I always make it a point to make sure we're acknowledging our opponents' seniors as well. So I'm going to be very brief today about my crew, but I just want to first start by acknowledging the Norristown seniors, and if we have them here, we've got Greg Sontag. We have Charlton Moore-Sweet. We have Alex K. Conway. And we have Noemi Latrionnaire. Did I say it right? You guys are awesome. Thank you guys for hosting us last time, and we're happy to host you guys this time. For our group, we have just 5 seniors this year after last year. I want to start by acknowledging our first year bowler, but senior Lucas White. And then a couple of seniors that have bowled for us for a while. We'll start with our other gentleman, Frankie Ashton. Come on up here. All right. And then our last guy, this is his 3rd year, but he's a senior for us, our anchor, Jake Newell. All right, and then we have 2 lovely ladies on the team this year. Again, Felicia, was it 3 or 4 years? How long have you bowled for me? 3? Just 2? I always get that wrong. Our 2nd year bowler, Felicia White. Hey, the girl's right, okay? The girl's right. And then our 4th year senior, who has been a captain in many ways on the team, demonstrates great sportsmanship and leadership, and I'm proud to have her on the team, Nicole Esposito. All right, so let's hear it for the seniors one last time. Here we go. Get closer together.
Smile, Frankie.
One more time. Smile.
Hello and welcome to another edition of CITV Sports. I'm Scott Samuel David Weiss. It's Thursday, February 1st, 2018. We're at Facenda, Whitaker Lanes in East Norristown, Pennsylvania for non-league girls bowling. It is lively renewed between Norristown Lady Eagles and the Plymouth Whitemarsh Lady Colonials. This match is already in progress, and it is Plymouth Whitemarsh Senior Day. PW and Norristown have already faced each other once this season. The Lady Colonials got a 4-0 victory. So the lineups for Norristown, you have Noemi Latrionnaire, Paige Conway, Nyasia Perry, Rachel Poley, and Patricia Poley. For PW, Destiny Wilson, Brooklyn Hassis, Nikki Alexander, Ashley Newell, and senior Nicole Esposito. And now it's Brooklyn Hassis on the left lane for PW. We'll get 9 down. Noemi Latrionnaire, the leadoff for Norristown, had an 8 open. Wilson had a spare. Head coaches for Norristown is Candy Johnson, Plymouth Whitemarsh, Jeff Blizzard. Over the years, the matchups have changed because of graduations, but the head coaches have been the same basically. Paige Conway in her 2nd ball after 7. She'll get 1 of the 3. So back-to-back opens And Haas will get the 1-pin spare. PW up momentarily. 20-16 in the first frame. In game 1, we'll have 3 games of 10 frames apiece. Nyasha Perry now for Norristown in the White Rouge shirts. It's a relatively young Norristown squad. Perry will get 8. This Norristown team a year ago was 5.5 and 42.5. Much improved this season. Now Nikki Alexander gets the last second strike. Since this is a non-league match, this will not count for Eastern PA qualifying purposes, but it's always nice to try your best. This is PW's 4th consecutive school day with a bowling match. Now there's Ashley Newell, the freshman. She got herself a little split. Perry had an 8 opens, so 3 opens through 3 bowlers. Here's freshman Rachel Pulley now on the right side. Her sister Patricia is a junior. She's the anchor. Now here's Newell, and she'll get 1 of 2. That's the first open frame. Plymouth Whitemarsh is in Suburban 1 American for bowling, while Norristown is independent for the 2nd straight year after many years in Suburban 1. Since Norristown's in the Pioneer Athletic Conference, there aren't enough teams to have a league. Pulley converts. It's the first mark of the game and the match for Norristown as senior Nicole Esposito has an 8 count on her first. Here's Patricia Pulley, whose season-high series is 662. Came against Pottsgrove. And she'll get a split. It's a 5-10. PW is 0-1 in splits so far. Esposito's second. Looks good, but she'll only get 1. Cannot get enough curve. So PW 1 strike, 2 spares, 2 opens, and 0 for 1 on splits with 48 right now. And Pulley will get 1 of 2. So that's 4 opens and a spare, no strikes, 0 for 1 on splits. For 1 frame, 48-43 PW. Noemi Trionaire opens with a 4 count to start on the left lane. Now here's Destiny Wilson. Off a spare. And she'll got everything. It's her first strike. Back-to-back marks for her. Give her 30. Trionaire's second. We'll get all but 2. So back-to-back opens for her. Already 5 opens for the Lady Eagles. Now here's Brooklyn Haas on the right side for PW lanes 33 and 34. Over the years, we've had anchor matchups such as Amy Costello, Sarah Kinsey, Jamie Pugielli, Emily Kinsey, recently Francesca Shoto-Colelli, and Crystal Rose. And now it's it's Nicole Esposito and Patricia Pulley. Alexander will be after Brooklyn Haas. Jeff Blizzard's had difficulty getting good production from his 2 spot. Has been alternating between Haas, Gabby Palmy, and Lauren Crossgrave, and a few others. And that's back-to-back spares for Brooklyn Haas. PW up 85-52. Middle of the 2nd frame of game 1. MF Whitemarsh has 2 Suburban 1 American matches left against Quakertown and Earl Bowl Quakertown February 2nd, and go to Earl Bowl Arlington to face the Penwood Rainy Rams, who PW picked up a 3-1 makeup victory on January 30th here for Facenda. It's a good pickup by Paige Conway, who had 1 in her first ball, but all 9 in the second. So it's 85-61. Here's Alexander, who is averaging a little under 150 this season. Right now, she has enough games bowled to qualify for Eastern Pennsylvania Regionals. Individual portion is scheduled for March 2nd, 2018 at Dutch Lanes in Ephrata. Now here's Nyasha Perry. The oil is helping her a little bit, as it looked like it was going to the right gutter on lane 33. Now Alexander on the right side for Plymouth Whitemarsh. And rolls it in the gutter. It's just the 3rd open so far for PW. Ashley Newell is next. Newell had a 225 game not too long ago. She right now is in the Suburban One American top 10 for regional qualifying. Newell gets 7, but this is an exciting time for Plymouth Whitemarsh girls bowling. The Lady Colonials have a chance to maybe qualify for the Eastern PA team regionals for the first time ever by pinfall, because right now North Penn and Abington are 1-2, and it's the top 2 teams in Suburban One American, the top 2 teams in Suburban One National that already get in, and out of those 2 conferences, the final 2 spots for regionals will be by pin count. Newell gets 7-2. That's her second straight open. Only a freshman. There's plenty of time for improvement. Nasia Perry opened as well. Nicole Esposito now will go second to last diamond on the right. And the 10 will bud. So she picks up the strike. 2 frames. PW has 122. Now Rachel Pauly will finish up her second frame and will get both. Back-to-back spares for her. PW with 2 strikes, a spare, and 2 opens. Naomi Trianair ran to that one in the gutter to begin her third frame on the right side for Norristown. Here's Patricia Poley. She'll get everything but the 7. Patricia Poley, Shannon Rose, and Rachel Poley participated in the 2018 independent qualifier at Berks Lane on January 20th for independent teams who do not participate in the league. The top 14 get to the Eastern PA Regionals. Unfortunately, Poley, Rose, and Rachel Poley did not make the top cut. Trianair gets 7 on her second ball. And that by Patricia is good. For 2 frames, it's 122 to 104 Plymouth Whitemarsh. 3 spares, 2 opens for the Eagles. And Trianair now makes it 7 open frames for Norristown. There's Paige Conley off a mark. There's Destiny Wilson off a strike for PW. And she gets a double. Wilson's high game, I believe, this season. Not too long ago, 190. And Plymouth Whitemarsh, after today, has a match at Quakertown February 2nd. I believe it's the first time in team history the Lady Colonials will be bowling 5 consecutive school days in a calendar week. And it looked like Conway shanked that left. So she has 2 opens and a spare. Now here's Haasas, who is not a senior. Only a couple of Lady Colonials who are seniors. The only one in varsity right now is Esposito, who the last couple of years bowled in front of Francesca Sciolo-Colelli. And Asia Perry will have her turn. She'll get the front. Haasas will have her second ball. Square on. That's a sparrow, as she has 3 straight spares. 160 to 124 PW, middle of frame 3 of game 1. This would be the first season since the implementation of Eastern PA Regionals that there will not be any Norristown Lady Eagles participating in the singles competition if the results hold. Dating back to 2007 through last season, every year had at least 1 Lady Eagle in singles. In fact, in 2014, Emily Kinsey finished 9th in qualifying, so she's the last one to have made the state tournament. Back in 2014, but Emily Kinsey came in last at the state tournament, 24th for 24th at the very difficult North Versailles Bowling Center in Pittsburgh suburb, North Versailles. So Naisha Perry came up empty yet again. Nikki Alexander staring down the 6-pin on lane 33. Norristown, this will be its 4th straight season not qualifying for Eastern PA Regionals as a team. It'll be only the 5th time failed to do so, dating back to 2007. Alexander picked up the spare. So did Rachel Poley. Rachel Poley has a sparrow. And Ashley Newell's got herself her second split conversion opportunity. Now here's Patricia Poley. And she's got her second split opportunity. Here's Newell. Well, that was very close, but she could not get that and ate the fall. So that's 3 opens for Ashley Newell. It's 179 to 159 PW at the end of 3 frames in game 1 this senior day and rivalry. Patricia Poley does convert. So Norristown is 1 for 2 on split conversions in that frame. 2 spares and 3 opens. Still looking for its first strike, and Nicole Esposito has a double. 2 strikes, 2 spares, and an open for PW in that frame. It's 199 to 161. Plymouth Whitemarsh for 3 frames against the Norristown Lady Eagles. PW as the designated home team. Both of these teams bowl here. There's a baby split for Destiny Wilson. She's got the free 10. With a baby split, you can go 2 ways in between the free and 10 or to the left of the free. Here's Noemi Trianera, senior. Much better roll this time. But she's got herself a free pin split. It is listed as 2 on the monitor. Going to the left side here, and it will not brush it down. May have not been her intention. 1 of 2 there. That's her first open. 76 through 4 for Desi Wilson. Trianair still looking for her first mark, as Norristown is now 1 for 3 on splits. Now here's Brooklyn Hossis on the right side for Plymouth Whitemarsh. On a Sparrow. And she left a 2-pin. And you're watching Non-League Girls Bowling on Colonial Instructional Television, the official programming network of the Colonial School District. Now here's Paige Conway. She'll leave a few. Hossis will not get it. That's her first open. 243 to 175 PW in the 4th frame of game 1. Two seasons ago, these two teams were in the same conference. In fact, back on December 9th, 2015, Patricia Poley had the highest game score of 191 in a match that was halved. PW had the higher pinfall, 2,087 to 2009. I think that was the first time Nicole Esposito got a taste of being anchor. In game 2 of that match, she filled in for Francesca Shoto-Kaleli, who did not bowl any game 2 for any classification, whether varsity or junior varsity. And Esposito, that game, I believe, had a 129. So Francesca Shoto-Kaleli had a 298 varsity score. The very next day, Shoto-Kaleli had 245, 246, 178 for a school record 669 high series. And that's been held for 843 days. So Trianair and Conway come up empty. Alexander with a couple pins, and she'll get nothing going. So she has 52 through 4. It's 257 to 178. Naisha Perry off a gutter. First ball gutter, and this may be a double gutter, but that's going to actually head back right. Look at this. Well, it's going to be an 8-pin spare. Now here's Rachel Poley on the left lane for Norristown. Avoids trouble. Ashley Newell for 7 count. Jeff Blizzard believes Ashley Newell could eventually rise up to maybe the likes of former Penridge standout Jen Stevens, who on occasion got 700 series. A 172 average her freshman year, then the next few years, 200s. And that's a good spare conversion for freshman Ashley Newell. That's a pickup for Rachel Poley. Norristown still without a strike. Poley with 4 spares. Now here's Esposito on a double. There's a turkey. After her first frame, 8-1, she has 3 straight strikes, 69 and counting. PW with 1 strike, 1 spare, and 3 opens. Now here is Patricia Poley, and that's Norristown's first strike of the match. Patricia Poley high game this season, I think, is 253. Also had a 230 in the same match. That was against Pottsgrove back on December 11th, 2017. So in the 4th frame, 1 spare, 1 strike, and 3 opens for Norristown. 5th frame now in game 1. PW up 297 to 225 in this non-league clash. At winter break, Norristown was 14-6. In fact, that surprised head coach Candy Johnson. Didn't expect that. In fact, Norristown actually won a match 3-1 shorthanded. Defeated Upper Moreland 3-1 at the beginning of the season on the road. 4-5. You do not see that too often. It's a testament to the improvement the Lady Eagles have one year to another. Desi Wilson 7 count in her first. It's another open frame for Trionaire. And it's a sigh of relief for Wilson with her 4th mark in 5 frames. 307 to 234 Plymouth Whitemarsh. Plymouth Whitemarsh right now looking to send maybe 3 bowlers to Eastern PA singles on March 2nd. It'd be the first time PW had multiples since getting free and in 2014. It's a 6 count to start for Paige Conway. Brooklyn Hassas rolled it to the left side and we'll get just a 7 pin. Gets encouragement from Nicole Esposito. Esposito around the 4 spot in Suburban 1 American. Ashley Newell's around the 6 at around 155. Esposito's high series, I think, is around 583. She's got a couple of 200 games this season, so does Newell. Conway with just 1 mark will remain that way. She can only get a pin. Hassas will only pick up a pair. After 3 straight spares to begin the match, she has back-to-back opens. Nyasia Perry looking for her first mark on lane 44 for the Lady Eagles. We'll get a couple on the right side. Nikki Alexander now. Strike, open, spare, open. 52 and counting. Alexander could not get the jersey strike, that stubborn 10 pin. Back in the good old days when Norristown would go to team regionals every year, used to have a chant where they would yell, "Do work." In fact, I think the best regional finish for Norristown came back in 2012, 17 for 27. Nyasia Perry, she's going away. She'll get a few pins, but still without a mark. She's got opens throughout. She's at 40 for 5. Alexander, that's not going to hold up. It's her 3rd open. She's at 61 for 5. It's 319 to 250. Rachel Poley, nothing but spares so far, and she looks to keep it that way. Now here's Ashley Newell staring it down on the left side for the Lady Colonials. Very fortunate that didn't split up. Poley's second ball is dead on. Rachel Poley, nothing but spares. 5 spares and no opens. That's 84 and counting. And that's going to be just 1 of 2 for Newell. 4 opens in 5 frames. Anchor Patricia Poley will be next. Last season, Patricia Poley qualified for Eastern PA Regionals. She came in 93rd of 147 with a 5-game series of 784. looking for that double, and she leaves the 10. Here's Nicole Esposito. Has not yet qualified for regionals in her career, and there's a ham bone. That's a Rob Stone term. 4 in a row is also called a clover. Call it what you wish. 99 and counting. It's senior day and showing her wit and her grit. And Patricia Poli got it. And now Noemi Trianaire will start the 6th frame on the left side for Norristown. It's 366 to 297. Desi Wilson will be on the right side for PW. That frame, Lady Colonials had 1 strike, 3 opens, and 1 spare. Lady Eagles, 2 spares, no strikes, 3 opens. Fink 1 for free on splits. Wilson got 5 on the first ball. Trianaire got 9 on her first ball and picked up the 1-pin spare on her second. Her first mark gives her 51 and counting in the 6th frame of game 1. 376 to 298. We'll have 3 games of 10 frames apiece. And when we tally up the scores, that will count as the 4th game. Wilson will leave the center pin. That's her second open. She's at 100 through 6. Paige Conway looking for a little bit of spin. It doesn't get a lot. Just 1 mark so far. Brooklyn Haasas try to get a sweeper to come, but couldn't. Suburban One Sports is the Suburban One League's premier high school sports authority, providing athletes and fans the latest sports news, scores, and photos. Visit www.suburban1sports.com. Plymouth Whitemarsh is in the Suburban One American Conference. Not enough speed and not enough twist. Conway rolled it into the right gutter. 5 opens in 6 frames for her. Haas's second ball gets the mark. 4 spares, 2 opens for the 2-hole. Give her 76. Right now, Brooklyn Haas's does not have enough varsity games to get eligibility status for Eastern PA Regionals. You need to bowl at least half of your varsity conference games in order to be eligible. Naisha Perry looked like it was heading down the middle, but twisted and turned to the right side at the last moment. Here's Nikki Alexander. I believe her high game this season, 197. And she'll pick up her second strike. A 10 count will give her 71 and counting in the middle of the 6th frame of Game 1, PWF 400, Norristown 309. Again, Norristown is independent. The only other Pioneer Athletic Conference team right now bowling in competition is Pottsgrove. Pottsgrove's also independent. Newell not get the 5 to fall. And Perry again, nothing doing for her. 6 opens in 6 frames. 409 to 310. I'm at Whitemarsh, bowling its 4th consecutive day. They'll go. On Monday, February 5th will be the 6th consecutive school day after a February 2nd tilt against Quakertown in Quakertown. That's a spare pickup for Newell. Now on the hand bone is Esposito. This is her day. She wants to make the most of it. She is definitely reading it much better. That's a 5 count. 5 bagger. 5 strikes in a row. 129 through 6. Shades of perhaps her predecessor at the anchor position, Francesca Schroeder-Colelli. Looking good so far for Esposito. It's a good pickup for Poli. Nothing but spares so far. Trianaire has a left side baby split. It's her second split opportunity. It's 440 to 343 as the 6th frame will come now to an end for Patricia Poli. All 10 for Patricia. She has both of Norristown strikes. So in that frame, 1 strike, 1 spare, and for 2 spares, 1 strike and 2 opens. PW had 2 strikes, 2 spares, and an open. And Trionair comes up a little short. So 440 to 364. Wilson lands that one into the gutter. It's frustrating, but the good news is it's 3 games you bowl. And this is a non-league match. Even though it's a non-league match, you still want to try your best, because it could serve as practice for the future. And the more practice you have, the more likely you will improve. Wilson's second ball is a lot better, and it shows. So it's a gutter spare for Desi Wilson. Good rebound for her. She's at 110 counting as we're in the 7th frame. 450 to 372. Conway on an 8 count will roll that into the left side. Gets nothing else. Conway 5 straight opens. Here's Hassas on the left side for the Lady Colonials. So in each of the last 3 seasons for Plymouth Whitemarsh, Francesca Schroeder-Colelli has been the lone representative for PW at Eastern PA individuals. Last season, she came in 112th, 2016, 74th, 2015, 95th. Schroeder-Colelli, in all 4 of her appearances at regionals, never got a 200 game. In fact, in PW history, there have been only, I believe, 4 200 games recorded by PW bowlers in regional play. Most recently, a 212 by Jamie Pugielli in 2014. It's an open for Hassas. She has 90 through 7. Nyasia Perry on the right side for Norristown in the bright blue. On a 7 count, it's got the 1, 3, and 6 pins. So Alexander will be next. And Alexander is teetering in the 10th position, around 148 average in Super 1 American. She knocks down everything. That's a double. Her 3rd strike. Give her 91 and counting through 7. Rachel Poley. Another good ball. Just left the 4 and 7 on the lane. Here's Ashley Newell. She'll leave the 6 pin. She gets 9. Of course, Groundhog Day is February 2nd. Of course, we wonder if there will be 6 more weeks of winter. Well, in bowling, we'll wonder if there'll be 6 more weeks of bowling, because I think it will be March 16th and 17th. In the Pittsburgh area will be the 2018 Pennsylvania State Bowling Championships. The top 12 individuals from the East, top 12 individuals from the West, the top 6 teams from the East, and the top 6 teams from the West in each gender will go at it in the middle of March for state glory. Patricia Poley gets the double. In that frame, that was 1 spare, 3 opens, and 1 strike for the Eagles. Now here's Esposito. It's 419 for Norristown on a 5. So 7 fall. No. That ends the 5 bagger. But that's still a 156 and counting for 7 frames. Still in good shape for maybe a 200 game. Now the 8th frame will begin. PW up 530 to 419. PW averaging around 700 per game in conference play. Wilson avoids a lot of danger. Good approach for Esposito, but no, she doesn't get enough turn. It's her 2nd open. PW 1 strike in the 7th frame. Couple spares and a couple opens. PW right now at 10 strikes. 11 spares. At 14 opens through 7. Wilson's 2nd is square on. That's her 4th spare. Give her 129 and counting through 8. 549 to 419. Noemi Trionair with her 1st strike. 2 of the last 3 frames resulted in marks. She has 78 and counting for 8. Brooklyn Hassas gets her 1st X. Lord Plymouth Whitemarsh gets a high 5 from head coach Jeff Blizzard. who's been at the helm all 14 seasons the program's been in existence. H. Conway's had the tendency to roll left. Her body's on the right side, but she seemed to shift a little early. PW up 5:59 to 4:34 as Conway will stare down her second ball. BurksBowling.com is your online source for high school bowling in eastern Pennsylvania. You'll find information on standings, tournaments, regional, states, oil patterns, and more. Visit BerksBowling.com, BurksBowling.com. Second ball now for Conway is going to miss the free pin. Conway just a mark in the second frame, otherwise has been coming up empty. She has 67 through 8. Nikki Alexander will be waiting now. Taking a little bit of a break. Here's Nyasha Perry looking for her first mark. Here in the 8th frame, it's 5:59 to 4:34, and Perry's going to be on the left side as well. There's Alexander on a double. She'll start on the right side of lane 34. We'll take a couple of steps, and we'll roll from the outside diamond. And that's a beautiful swing there to get the turkey. 3 strikes in a row for Alexander, 121 and counting through 8. Now at North Forsyth Bowling Center in Pittsburgh suburb North Forsyth, outside lines are very difficult. It's more of an inside approach you need because outside line could result in problems. Perry again, 5 and 3, nothing doing for her. Newell got a bit of an ugly situation here. She leaves the 1, 2, 4, 8, and 10. And that's Rachel Poley's first strike. How about the 7 spares and 1 strike for her? That's 139 and counting. And Newell with the right approach, but cannot get everything. So that's her 5th open. Patricia Poley on a double. Leaves the 10 pin. Poley has a spare in 6 straight frames after a first frame split open. PW up 603 to 493 toward the end of the 8th frame. Here's Esposito at a 156 and counting. 5 strikes and 2 opens. Another good approach by her, and she gets all 10. One of the things Nicole Esposito has worked on throughout her time at Plymouth Whitemarsh is consistency, and now she is suddenly realizing what needs to be done, and that's to open for Poley. Trianera off a strike gets 9. In the 8th frame, Norristown had 2 strikes, no spares, and 3 opens. Plymouth Whitemarsh, 3 strikes, a spare, and an open. So I think that's 15 opens, 12 spares, and 13 strikes. Now here's Wilson. Has a split, shaking her head. Noemi back-to-back marks. That's 3 in the last 4 frames. After not being able to get one in the first 5, she's at 98 and counting. Finally finding her groove. It's 6:27 to 5:13 Plymouth Whitemarsh in this non-league match on Plymouth Whitemarsh Senior Day. In this rivalry matchup between former league foes, Wilson gets 1 of 3. That was PW's first split opportunity since Wilson missed her conversion on the 4th. So PW right now, I think 0 for 4 on splits. Conway, her issues continue. She keeps throwing it left. She needs to go down the middle. A little swing left she can do. Haas is off a strike. Brooklyn Haas is on the left side now for PW. Will get 9. On the first ball. And through the final 3 matches this season, Haas and other bowlers will need to pick up the pieces if PW wants to remain in the hunt for Eastern PA regional berth. That's an open for Conway, who only has 1 mark and 8 opens. Haas could not get it down, so that's an open for her. Back-to-back opens for the Lady Colonials. It's 6:46 to 5:22. PW in the 9th frame of Game 1. We'll have 3 games. Now here's Nyasia Perry. She'll get a couple on the right side. She has 68 and counting before her second ball. Alexander on a turkey. Ham bone. Alexander picking it up. That's the second ham bone for PW, as Esposito had a 5-bagger at one point. So she has 151 and counting. Alexander had a 197 at one point this season. Perry lulls it completely left. She'll get nothing on the second ball. Nothing but opens. Now here's Newell, and the 7 is going to teeter, but won't fall. So 685 to 525. Plymouth Whitemarsh and conference matches really needs to get 2200 series in order to potentially make regionals for the first time as a team. The best finish, I think, in Suburban 1. Conference history for Lake Colonials was third back in the 09-10 season. Newell picks up the spare. Now here's Rachel Poley off a strike. 139 and counting. She's now at 155 plus on the 8 count. Here's Esposito. 6 strikes in her last 7 frames. Again, she's figuring out where to roll it. Cannot get the sweeper to go down. But all her balls have been really good so far. 184 and counting. Get a spare here. She'll already be around 200. As we are in the foundation frame, 9th frame, as it sets up for the 10th. And Poley will continue her mark stretch. 8 spares and 1 strike give her 159 and counting. That's Rachel Poley. Her sister follows. Esposito's going to get this one. That's her first spare. So 6 strikes, a spare, and 2 opens for Esposito, as Patricia Poley's now up, third-year varsity bowler. Captain of the Lady Eagles will have a split. It's a 4-5-7. PW that frame, 1 strike, 2 spares, and 2 opens. 0 and 4 on split conversions. PW now with 14 strikes, 14 spares, and 17 opens. 706 to 552 PW, as we're about to go to our final frame in the first game. Looks like Poley got robbed. She had it right where she needed it. Just that outside pin wouldn't cooperate. So 3 opens for the Lady Eagles in that frame, 1 and 2 spares. Now we begin the 10th and final frame. Each bowler can get a maximum of 3 rolls apiece. 3 in there for the Lady Eagles. Starts off with a 7 count, but it's a split. Wilson on the 144 and counting. Right down the gut. She'll get 2 more balls. She's at 154 and counting. In the 10th and final frame, PW at 716. Trionaire will get a couple. Trionaire 0 for 3 on split conversions. She'll end first game for 115. At one point, didn't seem likely that she would get over the 100 mark. But in the last few frames, she had 3 marks. Now there's Paige Conway, finally down the middle for her. But she'll leave the 6 for Norristown. Wilson with her second ball. She'll leave the 4. She's really into it now. She's at a 163. Looks like Paige Conley getting instruction I believe that might be Brandon Bonaminko, a former Norristown bowler, an assistant coach for Candy Johnson. PW's assistant coach is Bob Culp, his second season. Kim McCann preceded Bob Culp for one season as an assistant, and Wilson can't get the spare there. So she ends up with a 163 in her first game. PW at 725, Norristown at 580. H. Conway in a 9 count. Now here's Brooklyn Hossis. Yes, all 10. It's her second strike in the last 3 frames, and she'll get 2 more rolls. 128 and counting. Conway getting instruction from Bonaminko, and that's a much better approach. Giving props to her assistant, Bonaminko. Who had been on great Norristown teams his day, won a couple of conference championships for the Eagles, Bonaminko. Now here's Brooklyn Haas's second. She got 6, leaving the 1, 2, 9, 8, and 7, and 8. Conway bonus ball. Will leave the 10, but she needed the instruction that time. Finishing with a 95, but I think she has a much better approach now. Haas on her bonus, and it will be an open. That will be a 136 for Brooklyn Haas. We'll see if Jeff Blizzard is going to make any substitutions after this first game. Not sure Candy Johnson will either. You are allowed to substitute bowlers in between games and even during games. Alexander on a ham bone, but she gets a split. She's at 169. PW right now 0-4 on split conversions. Norristown, I think, is 1 for 6. Now here's Naisha Perry in the left lane, lane 33 for Norristown. Of course, hanging above lane 35 is the Norristown banner, Suburban 1 League Conference Champs 2005, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12. The boys shared the conference title in 2010, and look at that! Nikki Alexander picks it up. The first split conversion of the contest for the Lady Colonials. High five. She deserved that bonus ball, and she can end up with a 187. It's definitely what you need to do if you want to try to get to regionals. Good sportsmanship from her opponent, giving her encouragement. Candy Johnson wanted to make sure she wasn't giving help, but just encouragement is fine. Sportsmanship is a big part of these matches. Naisha Perry, 10 frames, 10 opens, finishing for 75. Alexander, her bonus ball, she'll get 8. So she finishes with a 185. Meanwhile, Rachel Pulley, nothing but spares and strikes at 177 and counting. Nikki Alexander still excited over that. Not sure she's made a spare like that. For the Lady Colonials, if you do not count that bonus ball split. Lady Colonials 1 for 5 now. Now Ashley Newell's first. Gets 7. How about Patricia Poley? All 10 frames. Clean game. That's 9 spares. A strike, and she's got 1 more ball. This is going to be an open free first game for Rachel Poley. And she'll get 10. Nothing but strikes and spares. Very solid first game for Rachel Poley, a 188. How about 9 spares and 2 strikes, no opens, and Ashley Newell with a 7 and 1. That's an open frame for her. She'll finish for 122. Now here's Patricia Poley, and she'll get the all 10. That's her 4th strike. She'll get 2 more rolls. It's 792 to 636. PW. Here's Esposito. She'll get 9. That will put her over 200. 204. A very solid first game for Esposito. 2 opens, rubber strikes and spares, and that's a double for Patricia Poli, who has definitely improved from her freshman year now to her junior. Esposito will make it, so she'll get one more roll. 205. Believe she had a 220 this season. Finally figuring it out. Norristown at 646, PW 811. Poli finishes with an 8 count. That's a 654 first game for the Lady Eagles. 181 for Patricia Poli, 188 for Rachel. Final ball for Esposito. Messenger won't go. And that's a 214 first game for Nicole Esposito. The final score in game 1, Plymouth Whitemarsh 820, Norristown 654. Norristown, that frame, had 3 strikes, a couple of spares, and 2 opens. PW had 2 strikes, a couple of spares, and 3 opens. So for one game, PW up 1 game to none, 820 to 654. As we're about to begin the second game now of the match. PW up 1 game to none. We'll switch sides. Destiny Wilson for PW on the right side starts off game 2 with an X off the 163. Noemi Trianair had 115 in game 1. She'll get 9. She had trouble racking up pins in the first game. But Brandon Bonaminko had to step in and help out even Paige Conway for Norristown. Brooklyn Hassas now, off of 136, has a split. PW, I think, if I'm not mistaken, went 1 for 5 on split conversions in the first game, and that was the 4-pin split spare by Nikki Alexander in the 10 frame that helped her get a 185. That's the second ball will be shanked to the left, so it will be a split 8 open for the PW2 hole. Now it will be Paige Conway on the left side for Norristown. Paige Conway off a 95. Nikki Alexander will be for PW. I don't believe Paige knew she was going to get that. Brandon Bonaminko was confident. I'm not sure she was, but she should take it. So Trianair on a 9 open. Conway on a strike. Here's Alexander. She'll continue to mojo. And the momentum is there for her. That's 5 strikes in the last 6 frames for Nikki Alexander. Give her 10 plus. It's 28-19 early in this first frame of game 2. PW won game 1, 820 to 654. PW needs 100 games down the stretch as we conclude the season. Couple more matches left for PW. And this is senior day. Nicole Esposito right now the only varsity senior for PW. Has appeared in varsity all 4 of her years here. Ashley Newell on a split 7. She'll get 2. PW right now 0-2 in splits in this game. Had 1 split conversion. PW had 16 strikes in game 1. I believe 16 spares. Actually, yeah, 16 spares and 20 opens. Nyasia picks up 2 of 3. She'll get encouragement from the Norristown faithful. She gets 9 in that first ball. It's 37-28. Now here's Nicole Esposito. Solid first game, 214. 1 point, had 5 strikes in a row. She had 6 strikes, couple spares, and 2 open frames. Esposito, it's right down the gut. Oh, there's her first split opportunity. Shaking her head. Rachel Poli. 11th straight frame. That is clean to begin the match for her. By the way, she is only a freshman, so she's only going to get better. Rachel Poley at the independent qualifier tournament on January 20th at Berks Lanes came 24 out of 34 with a 558 four-game series. Esposito will get some pins. It's better than none. How about this? 2 strikes, no spares, and 3 split opens. PW 46 for 1 frame. Poley with that strike as well. 48 for Norristown. Norristown with 2 strikes, a spare, and 2 opens. How about this? Norristown didn't have a strike in the first game until frame 4. Already 2 already. Trionaire will pick up 8. Norristown a better approach to begin this second game. By the way, that was actually 3 strikes. I forgot both the Poley sisters had a pair of X's. So 3 strikes, no spares, 2 opens. Destiny Wilson off a strike gets 8 count on the left lane for PW. Trionaire now on the split. She'll knock down 1. Split open for her back-to-back opens. We'll get a double high 5 from Paige Conway. And there is the 2-pin spare conversion for Desi Wilson. You're going to graduate Nicole Esposito this school year. Next school year could be on the upside for the Lady Colonials. Desi Wilson, Brooklyn Hossis, Nikki Alexander, Ashley Newell. There's some potential next season for PW. There is still a couple of matches to go. So this season a rebuilding year for PW, but I think the Lady Colonials have exceeded expectations. Lady Colonials actually started the conference season, Suburban 1 American play, 22-6. Slipped a little recently. Did get a big 3-1 win over Penridge January 30th here at Facenda. It was a makeup match from a January 8th postponed scheduled clash. Paige Conley knocked down well, actually 5. It showed up as 6. Brandon Bonaminka will input it in. And Hossis will come up short. We'll get 6 and 3. That's her second open. Norristown, the first game, had 8 strikes. Right now, 3. And we're in the second frame. It's 75-67 PW's Alexander's on a strike. Had a 185 first game. Looking for her Premier 200. Got herself a sticky spare. 6-7. It's already the 4th split opportunity. PW didn't have a 4th split opportunity since the 9th frame. Conway will get 4 to 5. So it's 91-75 PW as Alexander will be discussing with her teammates. Naisha Perry will be on the right side for Norristown, lane 30 here for Facenda Whitaker in East Norriton. This is a home match for PW. Norristown also bowls here. And PW defeated Norristown in its first meeting this season, 4-0 on January 18th. Patricia Poley in 194-game 530 series for the Lady Eagles. That's into the gutter. So Naisha Perry had her first ball in the gutter, and that's into the gutter on the split 8 for Alexander. PW right now 0 for 4 on splits. It's 2 strikes, a spare, and 5 opens. Newell will not get a split here. She had a split 7-2 her first time in this game. It's game 2, 175 PW. The Lady Colonials up 1-0 in this non-league clash. PW Suburban 1 American, Norristown, the Pioneer Athletic Conference in this renewed rivalry. You have the Eagles and the Cowboys, Flyers, and the Penguins in the NHL. But Norristown PW has always been big. And that's a spare pickup for Ashley Newell. In fact, 2008-9 school year in boys basketball, Norristown and PW shared a Suburban 1 American title. That Norristown team had future Temple Owl Khalif Wyatt. In fact, Khalif Wyatt's final high school game was against PW on March 11, 2009, the second round of states in boys basketball. PW won 72-50, led wire to wire. That's an 8 count for Rachel Poley, and she's got her first split of the match. She has marked in every frame. Here's Esposito, gets a 10 count. Esposito's first strike, just like the first game an open the first frame, a strike the second. PW 3 strikes in the game so far. Also 2 spares and had 2 opens this frame. That's 5 opens so far. And Poley gets her first open frame. Rachel Poley, the freshman, in this match. The last 11 frames she had a mark and had a little frustrated tap on Bonaminko, the assistant coach back. Here's Patricia Poley. She'll leave the 10 standing. PW has 111 through 2. On the left side now will be Noemi Trianair. And she'll get 8. As you see here, some of these bowlers have their own bowling balls. Others get some from the racks here at Facenda. And we alternate lanes each frame. Norristown will be on the left side to begin the third. And Poley now a strike and spare for Patricia. She's at 28 through 2, and that's an empty frame again for Trianair. Starting the same way as she did the first game. 3 opens to begin. She's at 26 through 3. It's 111 for PW, but 123 for Norristown. Destiny Wilson now. Does a little bit of a shimmy step. The ball turns, so it's a jersey, but not a jersey strike. And that is listed as a split. 5-6. PW already with 5 splits. I think that's the number PW had in the first game. This is the third frame. That's way outside, and that's into the right gutter for Desi Wilson. Strike, a spare, and an open. PW now 0 for 5 on split conversions. Paige Conway will give way to Brooklyn Haas's. Patricia Poley has bowled for quite some time. Junior for Norristown. She had been in juniors and even bantam leagues here at Facenda Whitaker in prior years, before going to Norristown Area High School. So an 8 count for Conway on the left side. And that's not going to get enough movement to the left side. So strike, open, open for Conway, and Haas's 5-1. That's her third open this game. She had it open to end her first game. This is game 2, PW 133, 131 for Norristown. In the middle of frame 3 of game 2. Nyasia Perry looking for her first mark. Nyasia will not get it. Candy Johnson, though, does like her team's effort. Alexander, who had a great ending to her first game, right now strike and a split open. Gets a regular 8 count here. Just have to deal with the 6 and 10. So entering this point of the season, I believe the top 10 the last few days for Suburban One American have been Jocelyn Wincoop, Maddie Nieporowski, Amanda Tardif of Upper Moreland, Nicole Esposito, Angela Kaufman of Penridge, Ashley Newell, Penridge's Liz Detweiler, Madeline Weston of Happero Horsham, Melissa Wilms of Penridge, and Nikki Alexander. And I believe there will be 15 boys and 15 girls from Suburban One American going to individual regionals, if the standards are correct by Burke's Bowling. Alexander comes up empty. A little bit too much spin. Back-to-back opens. It's the first time I think this match she has back-to-back opens since frames 4 and 5 in game 1. Newell has a baby split. Every frame so far there's been a split here for PW. Now here's Rachel Poley. By the way, Nyasia Perry still looking for her first mark. PW has never been to team regionals. There have only been 2 Lady Colonials to ever qualify for states, but not during the regional era. That's a missed opportunity. Second split open for Newell this game. That's her 4th of the match. And Poli with back-to-back split opens after getting nothing but strikes and spares in the match beforehand. It's now 158 to 148 PW as we're in the third frame of Game 2. PW won Game 1, 820 to 654. Here's Nicole Esposito, the senior anchor for Plymouth Whitemarsh. That's a beauty. Second straight strike for Nicole Esposito. Getting pumped up on her senior day. Patricia Poli responds with a strike of her own. 2 strikes and the spares for her. 178 to 168. I'm at Whitemarsh through 3 frames. Trianero will be on the right side. Here's Wilson on the left for PW. She'll leave 3 pins on the right side. Trianero off an 8 count will get a pin. In the last frame, Norristown had 1 strike, no spares, 4 opens. In the last frame for PW, 1 strike and 4 opens. Just 2 spares so far for the Lady Colonials. But how about the splits? PW so far with 6 splits. But 0 for 6 on conversions. Desi Wilson picks up the 3-pin spare. She's at 56 and counting. It was a 1 and 7 for Trianero. She's at 34 through 4. Brooklyn Hassas, the 7, will be left standing. In the meantime, save the date. The annual Colonial School District Blood Drive is scheduled for Thursday, March 22nd from 2:30 to 7:30 p.m. in the large group instruction room at Plymouth Whitemarsh High School. Make sure to register online at www.redcrossblooddrive.org and use sponsor code ColonialSD. You must be at least 16 and older, weigh 110 pounds, get your parent permission if you want to donate blood. Hasis will leave that one standing. That's her 4th open this game. Conway on a 1 count. By the way, severe winter weather has created an urgent need for blood and platelet donations, so if you can donate blood on March 22nd, please consider it. Red Cross can use all the help. Conway gets 8 of the 9 standing. She leaves before she's even finished. Now here's Alexander, the 7 teeters, but stands. Jumping is not encouraged. Her teammates wanted her to do so. In the first game, Alexander had a strike, a spare with 2 opens. Right now she has a strike, 2 opens, looking for the spare here. Here's Nyasia Perry, still looking for her first strike and spare of the match. It's 206 to 191 in the 4th frame of Game 2. PW up 1 game to 0 in this non-league battle. First day of February 2018. Shanked by Alexander. 3rd straight open. PW in the first 3 frames here had 9 opens. Right now 11, if you count that one. Nyasia Perry will have her 2nd ball on the right side. It's 206 to 192. Here's Ashley Newell looking for her first X of the game. And one of the question marks Ashley Newell has is consistency. And as she progresses in terms of age and her years here at PW, that should improve. Newell will pick it up. 2 spares, 2 split opens for her. Give her 46 and counting. Here's Rachel Poli. She'll leave the middle pin standing to 5. In her first 11 frames of this match, she had nothing but strikes and spares. In each of her last 2 frames, split opens. Now here's Esposito on a double. Fortunate that's not a split. She at one point had a 5-bagger. Rachel Poli back on track with a split, with a spare, avoiding a split. Now Patricia Poli, I believe the only bowler right now in this game so far without an open. Esposito will pick it up. Esposito wants to think about top 12 in Eastern PA qualifying. She's got to keep relying on the game she's been doing so far against the Eagles, and that's a double for Patricia Poley. That's 3 in her first 4. It's 244 to 224. PW 5th frame now in game 2. Norristown 1 strike, 1 spare, and 3 opens in the 4th. Wilson will leave the 6 and 10 on the right side. Noemi Trianair picks up all 10. It's only her second strike in the match. That's her first mark of game 2. Her first strike since frame 8 of game 1. She had a 115 in the first game. PW in frame 4 had no strikes, 3 spares, 2 opens. Oh, by the way, no splits for the first time in the frames. Wilson fist pumps with that spare. And it's good to see results like that in the pivotal stretch of the season. 14th season of PW bowling. Brooklyn Hossis will pick up 8. We'll leave the 1 and 2 pins. Here's Conway. Oh, the 5 is left standing. With Brandon Bonaminka by her side, the assistant coach. She's been understanding her approach better. 270 to 243. PW Haas, second ball will get both. It's her first spare, and that's her first mark. That's 4 straight spares for the Lady Colonials. It's 272 to 243 as Conway in lane 33 has her second. And it's a very good conversion for Conway. Her second mark, her first in 4 frames, her first spare, give her 55 and counting. Here's Alexander. Oh, that's not going to move. Naisha Perry on the left side now. Still looking for a mark.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
And Nikki Alexander will pick up the spare. We have a developing story in the varsity boys game. Jaden Hudson through 7 frames, 7 strikes. It's the second time, to our knowledge, this season he has started a game with 7+ strikes in a row. Meanwhile, back to the girls' match. Newell will look to continue the trend. 5 straight spares for the Lady Colonials. 1, 3, and 6 pins for Perry. This is looking really good. Naisha Perry gets her first mark of the match. 5 straight marks for Norristown. That gives her 41 and counting for 5. That is an open for Newell. You have her 63 and counting. Now here's Rachel Poley off a spare. She'll leave the 6 on the left side. 272 for Norristown, 299 for PW. 62 and counting for Rachel Poley, the freshman. Her sister, Patricia Poley, a junior. Here's Esposito on 3 straight marks. That ball's looked really good this match. 4 straight frames with a mark. 3 strikes in the last 4. Oh, that's a last second brush for Rachel. Only 2 frames so far with an open in the match. 6 straight individual frames with a mark by the Eagles. Noemi Trianair. Start the 6th frame with a 9 count. PW with 319 through 5. Patricia Poley gets 8 on her first ball on a double. PW in the 5th frame had a strike, 3 spares, and an open. Now second ball for Trianair. That's into the gutter. It's her 5th open in 6 frames. Gets a high 5. Patricia Poli, her 2nd ball, will get 1 of the 2. That's her 1st open. That's 1 strike, 3 spares, and an open for the Lady Eagles. 6th frame now, 2nd bowler for Norristown, 1st for PW. It's 319 to 317 Lady Colonials, Paige Conway. That 4 pins faking about it, but it's not going to fall for Conway. Much better ball. Here's Desi Wilson with the jersey, but she'll leave, I believe, the 5 and 9 pins on lane 33, PW. Tan pants, gray and blue shirts. Nicole Esposito is wearing a blue and white shirt. Like a while ago, the Lady Colonials used to wear these buttoned shirts that were black background and some blue. Boys had red shirts with black background. And that's an open for Wilson. 91 and counting through 6. She had a 163 in game 1. It's 336 to 335. Plymouth Whitemarsh in this second game at the non-league match. PW won the first game 820 to 654. And look at Conway with her 2nd straight spare. First time this match. She's had back-to-back spares. She had a spare in the 10th and a strike in the 1st in this game. Spare in the 10th of the 1st game. The bonus ball do not count for what I was saying. So it's a 9 count for Hassas. Jaden Hudson just rolled his 8th straight strike to begin game 2 for Plymouth Whitemarsh. By the way, Plymouth Whitemarsh bowling history, there have been 2 300 games. Most recently, January of 2012 by Julia Selfinger. We'll probably have more developments than that later on. And now Haas is getting instruction from Coach Jeff Blizzard. Nyesha Perry, off her first mark, got 3 on her first ball here. And she'll get a couple on the second, so that's an open for her. And a little bit too left for Brooklyn Hassas. Wizard will give instruction. Rachel Pulley now on the right lane. Starts in the middle, goes to the right. 7 pin will be left standing. Nikki Alexander now. We'll get all 10. That's her 2nd strike. I think that's only PW's 6. Esposito has 3. Alexander has 2. Wilson has 1. Rachel Pulley with her 3rd straight spare. Now here's Ashley Newell, still without a strike this game. It's game 2. 374 to 363 PW. Here's anchor Patricia Pulley on the right side for Norristown, the junior. She'll knock down everything but the 6 and 10. Newell will convert. Pulley staring down the 6 and 10, Patricia Pulley. Here's Nicole Esposito. 2-14 the first game. Looks like a jersey here, and that's a jersey strike. 4 strikes in the last 5 for her. Give her 107 and counting through 6. Jaden Hudson, streak of strikes ended at 8 in a row in game 2 on varsity. There is always a 3rd game. And now here's Wilson. Gets 9 in her first in the 7th frame. Trianair Baby split again, leaving the 3 and 10. Jaden Hudson at a 7 and 1. Second time this season in which that's happened to him. 8 straight strikes. And then a non-strike and an open. That's how he had a game in the 250s against Hapero Horsham, Jaden Hudson. Now in the girls' game again. It's a 9 spare for Wilson. Trionaire cannot convert the baby split. 3-10. She's at 70 through 7 of game 2. It's 4-14 to Freeze 79. PW won the first game 8-20 to 6-54. Right away, if you're thinking about PW girl records, the high game was 265 by Kim McCann on January 3rd, 2007. It's a record that has been standing for 4,047 days. The high series record by Francesca Shuttle-Colelli, December 10th, 2015 of 669, 843 days. That was a non-league match against Council Rock South. That was a day after a Norristown tilt in which she did not play game 2, Francesca Shuttle-Colelli. I mentioned that earlier in this broadcast. December 9th, 2015, a 2-2 match PW had against the Lady Eagles. Ossis will get 3 of the 4. The 6th frame, PW had 2 strikes, a spare, and 2 opens. Norristown had 2 spares, 3 opens. Paige Conway, 3 straight spares. The first time she has a sparrow in the match. Alexander knows that she did not get it where she wanted, and she's got to deal with a baby split, 3-10. Naisha Perry now on the left side for the Lady Eagles. And that will be a couple on the right side as Alexander will wait on the right lane to complete her opportunity. So the last Suburban 1 American bowler to qualify for states 2015, Penn Ridge's Kara Wireman. The year before, Emily Kinsey in Norristown made it. Mentioned earlier, Kinsey finished last at states at the very difficult North Forsyth Bowling Center. Ball will not get up for Alexander. Much different second game. 2 strikes, a spare, now her 4th open. She had 3 opens in game 1 for the 185. She's at 91 and counting through 7. New will be on the right side now. Perry with her 2nd. And she'll get all but 2 on the 2nd ball. Now here's a split for Newell. Just 1 mark in this match so far for Perry. But she is staying positive. Rachel Poley didn't like her ball, but nonetheless it is an 8 count. Newell is going to actually go for it. A little bit too much spin at the end. That's her 4th open. So we're in the 7th frame of game 2. PW 458, 421. Rachel Poley now. Ball's got to hang in there and just brush off the pins. Rachel Poley, 4th straight spare. Here's Esposito, but leaves the 10 hanging. Each of her last 5 frames have resulted in marks. Here's Patricia Poley. Avoids a very ugly split, but it's still not pretty. That's a 6-7-10 split she's got to deal with. That's a 4-6. Yeah, it's a 6-7. Actually, it's a 4-6-7. Pins are out of alignment, it looks like. It's a 3-pin split, though, and Esposito misses the 1 pin. And that's 1 for Patricia Poley. 0 for 2 that frame for Norristown in splits. That's 3 opens, 2 spares, no strikes. PW 4 opens, a spare, no strikes. A-frame now. Strike for Trionaire, her second this game. It's now 485 to 442 PW. Now here's Wilson to begin her A-frame. Spinning a little too left. She'll knock down 7. Adelaide Jaden Hudson finished game 2 for the varsity Colonials with a 459 so far for 2. 259 in game 2. Adelaide, the PW boys high series mark, I think, a 746 by Chris Hammis in 2010. Though Jaden Hudson could still potentially reach it. It's a 9 count for Conway. Wilson will only get 2 of the 3. Brooklyn Haasas will be next. And she'll get all 10. You're watching Girls Bowling on CITV. Colonial Instructional Television airs on Channel 28 on both Comcast Cable and Verizon Fios in Plymouth Township, Whitemarsh Township, and Conshohocken Borough. You can even watch our videos online. Visit colonialsd.org/community/CITV. Again, I'm Scott Samuel David Weiss. It's February 1st, 2018. The outside temperature hovering in the 40s. The bowling alley, a little cool, but not chilly. Now here's Alexander, as Conway missed the spare. Alexander, that 10's gonna hang enough to take a tumble. Alexander getting some tricky conversions. Anyway, Conway's open ends of free frame mark spree. Naija Perry, that's going to be 1 pin down. Here's Newell. Very good ball, all 10. It's her first strike of the match, if I'm not mistaken. She had 4 spares, a lot of opens in the first game. 3 spares and now a strike. That's 3 strikes in a row for the Lady Colonials. Esposito will be on the left side for PW. Then it'll be the foundation frame. It's 531 to 461. That's into the left gutter. Still only 1 mark this game and the match, as we're in game 2 in the 8th frame. Now here's Esposito off and open. She leaves free. Sure, she's going to reach 200 here. Rachel Poley gets the last second pin to fall. 5 straight marks for her. That's her second strike. Give her 120 and counting. Esposito will take care of business. First third of her second spare. PW with 3 strikes, a spare, and an open. Now Patricia Poley will be on the right side. For Norristown on the left will be Noemi Trionaire. And that's a double. That's her first double of the match. Now here's Patricia Poley to finish out her 8th frame. And she'll deal with a split. It's the beginning of the 9th frame for Norristown, but Poley will finish it off with the 8th. The last time Norristown had multiple bowlers qualify for Eastern PA Regionals, 2014, when Emily Kinsey got 9th in qualifying with a 1,042 5-game series. Caitlin Ferry was 76 and Crystal Rose was 84. That's a that's a very good one, actually. Very close, but it hit. That's her second split conversion. 2 strikes, a spare, and 2 opens in the 8th. Now here's Desi Wilson, the foundation frame for PW, and she starts off the foundation frame with a bang. That's a strike. 11 strike at the game so far for PW. Fink had 16 in game 1. It's 551 to 511. Now here's Paige Conway. Conway will get all 10. Now here's Haasas. That's a goal post. 7-10 split. in Professional Bowling Association on TV appearances. You hit that, that's $100,000. If you were a part of the United States Bowling Congress, maybe you can get some scholarship money off that, but not here. And that is right down the middle. And that was a miss for Hassas. Right away, the Norristown PW boys match. Norristown finished game 2 with 1,035. PW boys finished with 1,034. That's a very tough finish. Not often the two teams could go that close with over 1,000. Now back to the girls match. Nikki Alexander will get 9. Asia Perry had a 3 and 5, ending the 4 straight mark streak for Norristown bowlers. The foundation frame again, 585 to 529 PW. For the second time in 3 years, the Colonial School District has received a Safe Schools Target Grant. From the Pennsylvania Department of Education, the district was awarded a $19,145 equipment grant to purchase new surveillance cameras for the PW and Colonial Elementary School campuses. And that is a spare conversion for Alexander. Give her 121 counting through 9. It's a split 8 for Rachel Poley. Now here's Ashley Newell off her first strike, and she's going to get 9. By the way, Plymouth Whitemarsh High School right now in process of putting up a new gym where Jim West used to stand. Nice auxiliary gym. The framing's been put up. Look at that. Rachel Poley, second split conversion for the Eagles. All the split conversions by the Eagles have been by a Poley sister. And that's going to be an 8 count. That's an open for Ashley Newell. 118 and counting through 9. Now Esposito on a 144. Patricia Poley 139. Patricia had 181 the first game. And Patricia Poley had a 662 back in December against Pottsgrove. She'll pick up the pieces. 2 strikes, 2 spares, and an open for the Eagles. That frame Esposito, well, that's wiggling. And that's a stubborn free pin. She has a free 6-10. Here's Wilson on the 10 frame now on the left side for Plymouth Whitemarsh. Now for this game, there'll be one more game. Esposito needs a 186 this game to be at 400. Good pickup. I think it would be her first 600. Too bad that non-league matches do not factor into Eastern PA qualifying, but it is an official match still because you bowl on both lanes. Second ball now for Wilson, and she'll pick up the spare, get a bonus ball. Tria Nair on a double, beginning her 10 frame. She'll have to deal for free pin split. So it's 642 to 588 PW. So right now Esposito back-to-back spares has a 161 and counting. That puts her at a 375. So far, Wilson's last ball will give her 7. Trianair will miss it completely. Trianair will finish game 2 with a 121 right now at a 236. 154 for Destiny Wilson in game 2. That's a 317. Do my calculations for 2. Here's Conway did not foul. The line the bowlers have in front of them is the foul line. If you go over, it will be a foul and you lose a turn, and then your second ball will be your second ball in essence. That's a free count for Hassas. Had a 136 her first game, now at 98 and counting. 652 to 600. PW had 820 the first game. Norristown had 654. PW at 1 game to none in this non-league clash. PW is of Suburban 1, Norristown Independent. And PW has 2 Suburban 1 American matches left on the season, to our knowledge, both on the road at Earl Bowls. One in Quakertown and one in Arlington. Both will be critical, as they could determine whether or not PW goes to regionals for the first time. And that's a spare conversion for Brooklyn Hassas. It's a 6-2 for Paige Conway, giving her 136 as her total in Game 2. She had 95 in Game 1, so much better approach this game. Now here's Nyasia Perry, who had a 75 Game 1, a 66 and counting, 10th and final frame for each team in Game 2. Perry will knock down 9 of 10, leaving the 6. In the left lane now will be Hassas bonus ball. She'll knock down all 10. Picks up a spare and a strike. She'll finish with a 115. Right now that's a 251. Fist pumps, high fives, galore here. Perry will have to deal just a 6. It's 669 to 613. Plymouth Whitemarsh in Game 2. It's got to hurry, and it gets it. Perry will get a bonus ball. Here's Alexander. We'll leave the 4. She had a 121, now 139, had a 185 in Game 1. By the way, Jaden Hudson had a 9 count in his first ball in Game 3, so he will not see perfection on this February 1st from him. Nyasia Perry now. Candy Johnson liking the ball. She'll get 8. She finishes with an 84 after a 75. Alexander's second ball will come right to it. Third spare in this game, in this frame, for Plymouth Whitemarsh, up 688 to 622. W's got to continue getting 700 plus, 800 plus games. Here's Rachel Pulley, and everything will fall her way. Bonus balls will come for her. She's at 160 and counting. 188 the first game. Not known for getting 500 series. Alexander in the bonus will knock down 7. So she'll finish with a 147. I think that right now is a 332 through 2. My math is not incorrect. Pulley's second will leave the 10. She'll have a 169. She had 2 open frames. She had no opens in Game 1. Had back-to-back split opens in 2 and 3 of this game. Here's Newell. 7 won't fall. That way, PW in the 9th frame, 1 strike, 2 spares, 2 opens. Rachel Pulley will come up short. She'll finish, I think, with a 169 after a 188. Newell's going to get it. She'll get a bonus ball. 4th spare. Here's Patricia Pulley to finish it off with Norristown. It's a perfect strike, everything into the pit. 161 and counting in this 10th frame. Newell will finish off with a 9 spare, 9. That's 5 straight for individual frames with a spare for the Colonials to finish the game for 137 after a 122. Game 1. Pulley's second ball now, so 1 more. Well, she's got to deal with the 6, 7, 10. Right now at a 168. Her sister had 169 It's 714 to 678. Looks like PW's going to win this second game as well. Esposito on back-to-back spares. Esposito in the left lane. Lone varsity senior for PW. In the pocket. Messenger, yes! Double messenger. Both pins swept through. 181 and counting. And Poli will knock down a couple. 170. That's a free 51 for her. That's 680 for Norristown. PW at 734 right now. That's the 5th strike for Esposito. Had a 214 her first game. That's way outside. Way outside. 187. By the way, right now, Nicole Esposito is at 401 for 2. Esposito averages around 157. So she's figured things out here. And we'll get it. So a strike and a spare. PW with 2 strikes, 5 spares, no opens. 191 for Nicole Esposito. PW wins game 2, 744 to 680. I'm Scott Samuel David Weiss. Stick around. We'll have more bowling coming up on CITV. Welcome back to Norristown versus PW Girls Bowling on CITV. I'm Scott Samuel David Weiss. We have sorry for technical difficulties. Well, we have seemed to figure them out. We're in the first frame of game 3. PW up 2 games to none. Entering game 3, 1,564 to 1,334. Destiny Wilson for PW had a 9 spare. Noemi Trionaire had a 9 spare as well. Here's Felicia White, the other Lady Colonial senior, getting her time to shine on varsity. Filling in for Brooklyn Hostas, who had a 251 on 2 varsity games. So it's now White's time. Now here's Paige Conway, who had a baby split to deal with the 2-7, but could not get it. Felicia White picks up the pieces. Her first frame in varsity in the day. Gets the spare. Back-to-back spares for the Lady Colonials. PW won game 1, 820 to 654. Won game 2, 744 to 680. And that's into the gutter for Nyasia Perry, who has showed some bright spots, but there's a lot of work to do. And that's a 9 count to begin the 3rd game, frame 1, for Nikki Alexander. Here's Perry on the gutter ball. One of the good things about Nyasia Perry is looks like her ball will land in the gutter, but it will turn a little, and that helps her out. She doesn't have a lot of ball speed. And here's Alexander, and she'll come up empty. First open. Rachel Pulley now. All 10. The last few years, Norristown had a bowler by the name of Desiree Light. Had a very unconventional approach. Ashley Newell doesn't realize there's dead wood, but she'll get the strike anyway. Not all the pins were set properly. About Desiree Light. She was a 2-handed bowler, but rolled a straight ball. A 2-handed straight ball bowler. So she would be pushing the ball forward in the middle of the lane. Patricia Poli follows her sister with a strike. 2 strikes, a spare, and 2 opens for the Lady Eagles. 41-39 Norristown after 1. Esposito. Fortunate to get a 9. It's now 48-41. Destiny Wilson now on a spare with her little shimmy. Trying to get the jersey, but cannot get the head pin. So Plymouth Whitemarsh in a battle with Penridge and Abington for perhaps not only second place, but a spot at team regionals by pinfall as Esposito picks up the spare. Free spares, a strike at an open in frame 1, 63-41. Second frame for Wilson, her second ball, and she gets 2 of 3. First open for her. Trionaire on a spare. Pick up 8. Felicia White now. And she gets everything and laughs. No, but it goes down as a foul. She tripped over the line. So unfortunately, that is not going to count as a strike. She gets all 10 here. It will count as a 10-pin spare as Trionaire back-to-back spares. And I think she wants that back, so she only got a couple. Felicia Light wants it back. $70-59 PW in the second frame of game 3. PW up 2-0 in this non-league clash. Paige Conway off a split 8 open. Nikki Alexander off a 9 open. Alexander had an impressive split successful conversion in the 10th frame of game 1. That's a 9 count for Conway in the left lane for Norristown. Now PW's Alexander on the bubble for automatic qualifying. She's saying, "I'll shoot." She got 7. DistrictScores.com is the place to visit if you want to know how your basketball team is doing in District 1 this winter. Make sure you click on the winter sports icon, and then boys and girls basketball and your desired classification to find records and rankings. That's DistrictScores.com. Right now, in girls basketball entering February 1st, Plymouth Whitemarsh girls, number 5 and 6A, Norristown, number 33, and that's a free pin spare conversion for Nikki Alexander. In District 1 6A boys basketball, Plymouth Whitemarsh Colonials, 18-0. Currently hold the top spot. Norristown, number 8 at 15-6, entering this February 1st. That's all 10 for Newell. That's a 2-bagger for her. Conway, meanwhile, rolls her 1-pin attempt into the gutter. So 100-68 PW in the second frame of game 3. By the way, Plymouth Whitemarsh boys basketball, I think, is the number 9 nationally ranked team in the statewide sports network public school high school boys basketball poll. How about being the number 9 public high school basketball team in the nation by a source? And that is a 9 count for Perry. Now here's Esposito. She'll get all 10. 2 strikes, a spare, and 2 opens despite a foul that was originally a strike for White. By the way, the girls basketball team, congratulations to head coach Dan Doherty on January 31st, 2018, picked up his 100th varsity win at the helm for PW. It's his 6th season. By the way, PW won by 51 points. I think it was PW's first 50-point win against an opponent since January 25th, 2011, if I'm not mistaken. It was a 65-15 win over Upper Moreland back then. But this time it was 78-27 over Central Philadelphia. Taylor O'Brien did not have the most points for PW. She is the all-time points leader in Plymouth Whitemarsh basketball history, not just the girls' team. Trionaire knocks down 9. Now Rachel Pulley will get a split 8. Perry had a 9 open. Trionaire starts the third frame, trying to get a sparrow here, which is 3 spares in a row. And that's not going to hold up for first open in the game. Poley, meanwhile, gets both. That's Rachel Poley's second successful split conversion. Rachel Poley and Patricia Poley have 2 successful split conversions apiece. It's now 120 to 115 as now Conway will start the third frame. PW hasn't had a third frame yet in this third game. Conway will not hit the head pin. Here's Patricia Poley on a strike. And we'll get all but the 7. Trisha has a year left. She wishes to do so. She is a junior. And she has another year to improve her game. Disappointed definitely that she did not make the top cut at the independent qualifier on January 20th for schools who are not in a conference. And she does pick up the conversion. Head coach Candy Johnson completely disappointed that they're not competing for league titles, but they know progress is to be made. Conway's second ball will get 2 of 4. By the way, in the second frame, 3 spares, 2 opens for the Lady Eagles. Third frame now for PW. PW down 143 to 120, but Norristown, 2 bowlers have already gone. Here's Wilson off of 7-2. She'll leave, looks like the 3 pin. By the way, the next edition of CITV Sports is scheduled for Friday, February 9th, 2018, senior night for the Plymouth Whitemarsh girls basketball team as the Lady Colonials are scheduled to take on the Quakertown Lady Panthers to conclude the regular season. And that's a 9 count for Perry. Right away, PW girls basketball 2 games ahead of Upper Dublin with 3 conference games to go. PW wins another game. It's practically second straight Suburban 1 American title because both of the contests against the Upper Dublin Lady Cardinals went to the Colonials. And that's an open for Wilson. That's PW's 4th open so far this game. Felicia White off a foul and 5. She did get all 10 in her first ball, but she tripped over the line and had a laugh. She's at 15 and counting. Well, that one's heading right to the gutter. I think she wanted to avoid tripping up again. And again, Felicia White, her first game in varsity this match. First 2 games in the 2-hole were Brooklyn Hassis, 136 and 113 scores. Perry and just 2 spares. No strikes yet. That's the 3rd open in a row for the Lady Eagles. Gets 9 on the second ball. Was White. She's at 24 for 3. 138 to 152. That's Norristown in the lead here. It's Rachel Poley. There's the messenger. Will not get the 10 on a strike. A split 8 spare, and now a 9 count. 170 to 138 Norristown. Again, Norristown with 5.5 wins a season ago with 42.5 losses. Much improved this year. Started this season short-handed. Even won a match with 4 bowlers only. Alexander will leave the 7 on her first ball. Poley, meanwhile, will get that 10, and she has nothing but strikes and spares again. In game 1, she had 188. She had 9 spares and 2 strikes. Patricia Poley will be on the right side for Norristown. In 4th straight season, Norristown won't be making an appearance at the Eastern PA team competition. It'll be March 3rd, the 222 Dutch Lanes. The boys' competition will be at Leisure Lanes in Lancaster. The circumstances permit. And states are scheduled for March 16th and 17th. Singles on the Friday the 16th of March. And Saturday the 17th of March. The teams, as Alexander, her second 9 open of the game. Entering this 3rd game with 332. There's Poley. She stares it down. Went on the way outside on the right. Shakes her head. Will go and get a couple. It's her first open. So 4 opens and a spare. Oh, look at Ashley Newell with a turkey to begin this game. The 3rd game of matches is usually one of her stronger games so far this season. So again, there was 4 opens and a spare for the Eagles in the third frame. PW is about to complete it. That 7's going to stand. So right now that's 1 strike in this third. Now here, 4th frame for Wilson. Will leave the 6. I think Blizzard's telling her to calm down and also giving instruction to Esposito. Blizzard knows what's at stake the rest of the season. This is a match that doesn't factor into regional qualifying. Looks like this is going to be another good ball for Esposito. 2 spares and a strike. She gets a 195. It'll be her first 600 series to my knowledge. And that's a good conversion for Wilson. Now here's Trianair, who gets her first strike of the game. That's her 3rd mark. She had 3 marks in the second game and 3 marks in the first. Now here's Felicia White. Gets all but 1. Much better ball that time. PW had 1 strike, 1 spare, and 3 opens in that 3rd frame. It's right now 225 to 195 PW. So we're in the 4th frame. Now Paige Conway hits the front iron. We'll leave the 2-pin. Well, it's a very good effort by Felicia White, the senior. I believe both Lady Colonial seniors in this game. Her 2nd spare. Now Nikki Alexander, who has 2 opens and a spare. Plymouth Whitemarsh has not bowled at Earl Bowl Quakertown before. Originally supposed to bowl there on January 17th, but Quakertown did not have school despite PW on the 2-hour delay. If you don't have school, you can't have a competition that day. This is Quakertown's first season having a sanctioned bowling program. So February 2nd, PW, if it happens, looking forward to its first ever meeting at Quakertown. But its second meeting against the Lady Panthers. Had a 4-0 win against Quakertown here early in the season. Good pickup for Conway, who had a 136 her last game. Alexander now. Oh, didn't get that turn she wanted. It's her 3rd open. She'll get encouragement anyway. Nyasha Perry, still with only 2 spares in the entire match on the left side now for Norristown.
Hey, Vicky.
Here's Newell on a turkey. Can't get the ham bone. No, it's 255 to 209 Plymouth Whitemarsh. Last season's Eastern PA state champion, and national champ, Olivia Farwell, who went to Elizabethtown last school year. She's a Duquesne freshman now, had a 300 game in the Kutztown Invitational back on January 20th. Congratulations to her. Olivia Farwell getting a bunch of accolades last season, tearing it up in Pittsburgh. And that is a 7 open, the first open frame of the game for Newell after a turkey. Here's Esposito on 3 marks. Oh, that's teetering. That pin is saying not on our watch. Rachel Poley, meanwhile, has got a baby split. 3-10 to deal with. Perry again, no marks this game. So it's 273 to 225 PW. PW won the first 2 games, so up 2-0 in this match. Esposito's going to brush that aside. Esposito with a 214 and 191. The first 2. And Poley was looking to get her 2nd split 8 spare in the game. And that will not happen here. Noemi Trionaire off a strike will start her fifth frame. PW for 4 with 274. Much better game for Trionaire. 74 already for 5. She had 115 and 121 her last 2 games. Patricia Poli in her 4th frame. Now 53 and counting on the 9 count. PW in the 4th frame had 3 spares and 2 opens. Just 4 strikes so far to my knowledge for the Lady Colonials. And only 3 strikes so far for the Lady Eagles. Trionaire cannot pick it up. Now on the left side is Patricia Pulley for Norristown area, and will hit it dead on. 2 spares, a strike, and an open. Norristown in frame 4 with 3, with what's actually 2 spares. Rachel Pulley did not convert. So 2 spares and 2 opens. Strike, 2 spares, 2 opens. Paige Conway now will be on the right side lane, 34 for Norristown. On the left will be for Destiny Wilson of Plymouth Whitemarsh. Again, this is Norristown versus Plymouth Whitemarsh, non-league girls bowling on Colonial Instructional Television, the programming network of the Colonial School District. Conway cannot get her first strike of this game. There's Wilson. Cannot get the sweeper to knock it down. It's the 5th frame of game 3. Now, in boys basketball, looks like both Plymouth Whitemarsh boys and girls will qualify for Suburban 1 playoffs, which I think are scheduled February 10th and 12th. I think the 10th, the semifinals, will be at Ben Salem High School, and the 12th will be the final at Souderton, if circumstances permit. And you get to play if you win your conference, Suburban 1 conference, or you're the wild card based on record, who have not already qualified. And that's going to be a miss for Paige Connolly. Plymouth Whitemarsh boys basketball has a rescheduled non-league clash against Newman Goretti on February 3rd at Harridan. PW's final regular season non-league game. And that's a 7-10 split opportunity for Naisha Perry. There's Felicia White. Going left to right across the diamond. The ball is moving well for her. She has 2 spares, 2 opens. That includes a foul, in which she had 10 in the first ball. Other PW seniors include Jake Newell. 3rd season for Plymouth Whitemarsh varsity. He did not bowl last season. White will pick it up. Back to back for her. 2-hole now has 52 on her day, senior day. Rachel Pulley now. Not a split there. She's been able to handle baby splits. So far, Norristown is 1 for 3 this game on split conversions. Plymouth Whitemarsh has yet to split a first ball this game. Here's Alexander looking at a jersey. And right as I say that, on cue, there's the first split of the game for PW. Poley picks up the 2-pin spare. It's 319 to 290 PW. Middle of frame 5 for Plymouth Whitemarsh. Toward the end of frame 5 for Norristown area. Norristown had been in regionals from 2008 to 2014 as a team. Last season's team regionals, the top 6 were 3,856 to 4,176 based on 3 games and 6 Baker games. Alexander a split open. And Poley picks up her 2nd strike of the game. It's 310 for Norristown, 319 to PW. PW, the final 2 bowlers of frame 5. 1 strike, a spare, and 3 opens for Norristown in the frame. 13 opens, 8 spares, and 4 strikes. Ashley Newell now on the left side, but here's Wilson, and she'll pick up everything. Her first strike of the game. It's her first since frame 9 of game 2. 84 and counting, and Newell brushes off that 7 open with a 9 spare. She had a 122 and 137, looking to surpass that here in this game. Felicia White now starting her 6th frame. Will pick up 7. That's a 4-6-10 split. Now here's Nicole Esposito to finish off the 5th for PW. That is an ugly split. And 2 of 3 for White for her 6th frame. We've seen professional bowlers like Dick Allen roll at speeds close to 30 miles per hour and convert it with authority. Some speed there for Esposito. She'll get a couple pins. That's a split 5 and 3. Her first open of the game. It's 378 to 310. Here's Alexander. She'll pick up 9. Now we're in the 6th frame for Norristown. PW free bowlers ahead in this frame. PW that frame had 3 spares and 2 opens. Now Emmy Tria in there with the X. That's her 2nd. She had 3 last game. 1 in the 1st. She has 4 marks. That's more than she had in the 1st and more than she had in the 2nd. She had 3 apiece in those first 2 games, to my knowledge. Here's Ashley Newell staring down in lane 34. And she's got the mirror split. 4-7, 6-10. And Paige Conway, meanwhile, will now take advantage, hitting a few pins on the left side. Alexander with 5 opens in 6 frames after a 185 first game and a 147 second game. She'll only pick up a couple. So that is a split failure. It's already her 5th split unsuccessful of the match. Second ball now for Paige Conway, and she'll get everything that is left on the table. Conway now for 2nd spare of game 3. It's now 4-1 to 330 PW. Nyjah Perry still looking for her first strike of the match. And it is disappointing if results hold. Norristown will not have a bowler in this regional singles competition for the first time since regionals were first contested in 2007. Now Crystal Rose, who've been an anchor a couple of years, back in 2015 did qualify for Norristown but did not participate because on that day there was ice on the road. And that's a 9 count on the first ball for Esposito, who needs again a 195 for a 600. Still got some time, but cannot have too many first ball non-strikes. Another mirror split. This time it's Perry on lane 33. She'll knock down 2 on the left side. Now PW this season has experimented with 2-hole bowlers. Gabby Pomian, Brooklyn Haasas, Felicia White in this game. And in the future, Blizzard might have a better idea knowing who can give him the best production in the 2 spot, as that's a spare for Esposito. It's 4-11 for PW for 6. As Rachel Poley picks up the X. It's 3:58 now for Norristown, finishing up the 6th frame, but Naomi Trianair now in the 7th picks up 7. Moving to 1, 2, and 9 pins. Here's Patricia Poli. A smooth transition to the lanes. Looks like a 5-7 she'll have to deal with. She's got a couple of split conversions though. PW in the 6th frame. 1 strike, a spare, and 3 opens. It's just 5 strikes in 6 frames. And Tria in there, having a much better third game. 3 spares, 2 strikes, and 2 opens. And that's an open for Patricia Pauly. 92 for 6. It's now 411 to 396. And the 7th frame of Game 3, PW won Game 1, 820 to 654. Won Game 2, 744 to 680. And PW averaging around 700 in Suburban 1 play. This is a non-league match. PW's going to have to do a better job on the road, though, as that's going to be a 9 count, fortunately, in the Wilson State sakes. The PW lead off. Now the 2-hole Conway gets all 10. Her first strike since the 9th frame of Game 2. 83 and counting for 7 frames now. Now that's the Wilson will pick it up. She knew it. That's her 4th straight mark and her 5th of the game. 104 through 7. Assistant coach Bob Culp encouraging the Lady Colonials. Now Bob Culp also does the score board for Plymouth Whitemarsh Wrestling back on January 17th. He was able to do that. He was able to keep track of PW's 60-2 wrestling win over Upper Dublin because Quakertown PW bowling match was postponed in Quakertown. Back in case you're wondering why just 2 points for Upper Dublin in that wrestling match, well, it turned out after the first bout, there was an unsportsmanlike conduct handed to Upper Dublin, so it was already 3 to -1. There was just 1 decision won by Upper Dublin that wrestling meet. It was 60-2 PW in that one. Now in this match, Felicia Lake gets a 5 and 3. Now in the 7th frame, here's Rachel Pulley. Oh, smooth move, double for her. After Perry picked up her first spare of the game. And now Pulley looking for the clean slate. Patricia Pulley now. Norristown's actually up 446 to 339. A lot different than the first meeting, though. Maybe it was 4-0 PW, but it's close right now. Trinair doing a lot better. 104 for 7, and that's Nikki Alexander getting her first strike of Game 3. Pulley doesn't like it. Smiles. She knew that it wasn't going to hit all. Ashley Newell now. It's another split. Back-to-back splits for the PW freshman 4-hole. The sister of Plymouth Whitemarsh varsity boys anchor Jake Newell. Be interested to see what happens if both of the Newells qualify for Eastern PA Regionals. Would mom go one place and dad go the other? Well, that is to be determined. And that is a split open for Newell. It's the 7th frame. Pulley got the spare, so it's a clean frame. Nothing but strikes and spares. 2 strikes, 3 spares, and no opens for the Eagles. Now here's Esposito. Got a little split. That's her 2nd opportunity now. Bessie Wilson on the right side to begin the 8th. Gets a jersey strike.
Come on, Jimmy.
Now 494 to 456. Plymouth Whitemarsh in Game 3.
Hey, good one, Jimmy.
Esposito will finish out the 7th for PW. PW with 1 strike, though. And she'll pick up 1. So 1 strike, a spare,
Come on, Gag.
and 3 opens. That's only 6 strikes in the 7th. Now 7 strikes. Felicia White Well, knocked down 2. Wow, that is an interesting board. She knocked down a 7 and 10. That's a paradox. First roll. And Shria Nair has a 4-6-10 split in the 8th frame. And she'll knock down a few. It's just 2 and 5 for Felicia Lloyd. That's 83. For 8 frames. Shria Nair is going to pick up a couple more. She's already at 120.
Way to go, Greg.
Through 8, she had 121 her last game, 115. The first, sometimes bowlers do better in the third game because they understood the oil patterns and have adjusted to the conditions. Nikki Alexander seems to understand the lane conditions with back-to-back strikes. Give her 92 and counting through 8. It's 522 to 472 PW. PW up 2 games to none.
Great finish, Greg.
Newell at 114. Again, another split. That's her third straight split. And that's a 9 count in the first ball in lane 33 for Paige Conway in the bright blue, with a white stripe going down the middle of the shirt in the back. It's going to be 1 of 2 for the third straight frame. It's a split open for Newell. $531 to $490 Plymouth Whitemarsh. Now there's Esposito. From the outside, now to the end for Esposito. And she's fortunate not to have some laughing pins here. Just deal with the 3, 6, and 10 on the right lane. On the left lane is Nyasia Perry after the Conway miss. Conway now at 101 through 8. Perry still without a strike though. Esposito, wow, way too far right, and Esposito disappointed with that. It's her third open.
Good game.
That's 2 strikes and 3 opens in the frame.
That's the way to go, Sam.
So 540 through 8 for PW. 508 now in the middle of frame 8 for the Lady Eagles in Norristown area, which is a mile or 2 from East Norriton, the high school, Norristown area high school. Previous Norristown boy bowlers include Matt Grayowski and Dylan Kopstick. Kopstick now a freshman at Widener University. Grayowski is actually the last Suburban Wood American boy bowler to qualify for states back in 2011. Both Grayowski and Kopstick a couple weeks ago had 300 games the same week. I think back-to-back days one of them had a 300 game. Oh, it's nice to see alumni succeeding after high school. And that's a miss for Rachel Poley.
Hey, great finish, Sam.
So now Patricia Poley.
Great game, great game. Great game.
Looking to make sure this is not an open filled frame. And now Shria Nair picks up the pieces. In her 9th frame, she's at 130 and counting for 9. Dresha Poley, oh, so close from maybe a Lily. But don't have to get to split talk because she'll deal just a 7. Conway will have her first ball now. She walks away with 6. Now here's Poley, Patricia that is. Rachel has 142 through 8, and Poley gets the spare, so that's not an open filled. frame. 1 spare, 4 opens in the 7th. PW, that's actually the 8th frame. In the 7th had 2 strikes and 3 spares. Had no opens, but that one had no strikes, 1 spare, and 4 opens. And that is a spare for Conway in the 9th. And now PW begins the 9th frame. It's a split. It's an A10 opportunity for Wilson, who sits on a little countertop near the ball return. I think she wants instruction from Jeff Blizzard. Now here's Naisha Perry. And Perry will get 8. We're leaving the 1 and 2 pins. It's a split 8 right now for Destiny Wilson, a 140. She's at a 457. I believe 480 is one of her high series this season.
They're having a happy hour next Thursday. You guys have some
We're not that far away from the Suburban One League American Conference Championships. I think the top 7 bowlers from each of the conference schools will participate. And a few bowlers who haven't already qualified for states, or regionals actually, based on pinfall, will get to regionals.
I haven't been to one for
There.
a while.
Back in the old days, you used to qualify for states outright. It's a good conversion for Perry, and that's a 6 count on the first ball of the 9th frame for Rachel Pulley, 148 and counting. Yeah, only 2 Lady Colonials have qualified for states. Kim McCann back in 2005 and 6, and Kim Cuthbertson also in 2006. That was back when there weren't any regionals. By the way, Kim McCann's record, high game at 265, will stand for a 4,048th consecutive day, I believe. And Pulley is short, gets 2. Keep in mind, Rachel Pulley had nothing but spares and strikes in the first game for 188, then had a couple of missed opportunities in the second game for 169, and Felicia White, 5 open in the 9th. Patricia Pulley to finish the 9th for the Lady Eagles. Right now up 603 to 563, but that's before PW has 3 more bowlers in this 9th frame. Nikki Alexander on a double
Yeah, when I started with
in the left lane.
company from Princeton, New Jersey,
That 9 pin's not going to go.
we did a job.
She'll have to deal with it on her second ball. Well, Patricia Pulley actually has a stride like Francesca Shuttle-Colelli at PW. Had a little bit of a hold before she approaches. And she opens. So that frame, 3 spares and 2 opens for the Lady Eagles. PW still with a couple more bowlers. It's 606 to 590. Desi Wilson could start her final frame as we're still in the foundation frame for PW, frame 9. And that is a spare for Nikki Alexander. Here's Newell, who hasn't gotten a strike since the 3rd frame. And she shanks it left, but gets 6. It's now 606 to 598 Norristown. PW still has some rolls here in the 9th. Right now, Rachel Pulley's at a 507. She doesn't get a lot of 500 series. And Newell picks up her first spare since frame 5 after back-to-back-to-back splits that she couldn't convert. Now, Esposito, who has 3 opens in her last 4, as Wilson will be on the right lane. It's right in the middle, but that pin didn't give her good action, and that looks like a split there. Final frame time for Destiny Wilson for Plymouth Whitemarsh, and it starts off with a bang, all 10. That's her 3rd strike of this game so far. She'll get 2 more rolls. She's at 152. She had 154 and 163. She once had a match this season with 3 141 games. That was against Hepburn Horsham, I think on January 10th. And Esposito short there. It's 3 straight opens. That's 2 spares and 3 opens. By the way, that strike by Wilson is only the 9th this entire game. PW had 29 the first 2 combined. If you count, looks like Grandma's teeth split there for Noemi Trianair. Leaving the 4, 6, 7, 9, 10. She had a 121, 115 before this game. Right now, still in the 370s range. Wilson will have her final ball and pick them all. Strike at a spare will give her a 162. Trianair finishes with a 142. For Noemi Trianair, that's a 378. Final count for her. Destiny Wilson, a 478. Final. That's a 479 actually. 317 and 162. Sorry for the confusion. Yes. 479. Which I think is a pin short of her recent high series, so she is getting up there and improving. Alicia Wilson with an 8 count on the right side for PW. She entered for Brooklyn Hasses, and she'll get both. Bonus ball for her now. After Paige Conway tries to convert the 1-3. Again, our next edition of CITV Sports scheduled February 9th. Senior night, Plymouth Whitemarsh varsity girls basketball. Lady Colonials take on the Lady Panthers of Quakertown. That's a successful conversion and bonus ball coming for Conway. And that's all 10 without a foul for White, finishing with a 108. And that time, she didn't trip. So 108 on varsity for her. Conway at 129 right now in the 360 area. Now it's her final ball. And she'll finish with an 8 count. 137. Now here's Alexander on the right side for PW and will leave a pin. It's a 368 final count for Paige Conway. A lot of improvement for her. Nyasia Perry has a couple spares in this game. Will look to get her first strike, not only the game, but of the match, according to the stat sheet. Alexander's going to have to go one more time as she converts. 140 for her. That's in the 470 range. Strike will put her in the 480s. Be above her average. She had a 185 game 1 and a 147 second game. Here's Perry. Won't get a strike here. Get a couple. Games of 75 and 84. Final ball is a beauty. Third strike. Each of the last 4 frames were nothing but strikes and spares. 150 for Nikki Alexander, giving her a 482 series. Still has some room for improvement, but did have an impressive 4-pin split conversion. Perry's final ball will get her a couple more pins. Here's Newell. And leave that stubborn 5. So 88 for Perry. So that's a 247. Final count without a strike. Newell will get her second straight spare. Oh, that's a very good ball for Rachel Poley, all 10, 160, already in the 5 teens. Final ball for Ashley Newell. That's all 10. 162, I believe, will be her final count. It's a 421, if I'm not mistaken. Newell had trouble her first 2 games. Averages in the 150s, around 155, so a lot more work to do toward this end of the season. That's a 7 count for Poley. PW at 708. Norristown at 670. The good news is another 700 game. That's what you really need because there are few teams ahead that have 701, 702 pinfalls who are not in first or second in their respective conferences. Suburban 1's going to get 6 girls teams, and you got to make sure that pinfall is ship-shape. Here's now Patricia Poley after the 170 by her sister Rachel with a strike and spare. How about a 527 series for Rachel? Here's Esposito, gets all 10. Will not get a 600 here. Now, Poley's got to get one more for good measure. 718 to 683. By the way, in last season, Norristown averaged in the 580s or 90s. Esposito got one more ball. She's at 550 series. Final here for Poley is all 10. And that's how her day finishes, a 156. That's a 507. That's 693 for Norristown. Final roll. Her Esposito is good. 146, give her 551. PW wins the game 728 to 693. Norristown had a total of 2,027, if I'm not mistaken. PW, which entered the final game with 1,564, had 2,292. So the final here, Plymouth Whitemarsh 4 games, Norristown 0, PW wins 2,292 to 2,027 here in this non-league lively. That's another edition of CITV Sports. I'm Scott Samuel David Weiss. Thank you for watching.